Most of the things that matter involve high risk, high reward. And most of the things we fear have never happened and probably never will. Fear is number one impediment in the way of people going for their dreams. But we all step on obstacles. We all live in fear. We all have worries. And fear causes you the most precious thing you have, time. Fear is a time killer. Overcoming fear is what valiant people do. Now, I want to be honest. I have not overcome my fears. I have my own demons that are really scary. But thankfully, they are not living in the world of music. In the world of creation, I am unstoppable and fearless. Producers tend to unburden their social fears as they grow older. Contacting a famous artist when you are 20 years old seems inconceivable. But when you are 40, you can do it. You can send him a message as you would send to any person on earth, without hesitation, without being bedazzled by his numbers or his fame. Worrying about things is a complete waste of your energy. Your job is to do what your hands tells you to do and forget about what other people are saying or thinking. People tend to put everyone in the same basket. And that is an archetypal reflection from the time we were apes. Because identifying and categorizing makes you feel safer. What's this red thing on the tree? Oh, that is an eatable fruit. Without poison, I can eat it. Let's call it an apple. So you wish all red things on trees fall in the same category, so you can eat them all without worrying. And in that exact way, we tend to categorize everything. But if you want to have an impact on a large scale, categorizing comes down to unit. Because everything and everyone is special and different and unique. So you can never be sure of the outcome, as there is always an entirely different situation. So your job is to do what your instinct tells you to do, and do not listen to anyone that tries to place you in a category. I had a very profitable job till my 35, and then I quit and followed my dream of becoming a full-time producer. My cousin asked, "Are you aware that you are used of living a comfortable life and now you are going to starve and most probably return to your previous job after a few years?" And I told him, "You are half right. I am going to starve, but I am not going back to my previous job." I knew what was expecting me, but I also knew that it was much more important to spend my life struggling for something that matters than having a comfortable life without a dream, without a goal, and without my melodies. You might ask, "So Angelo, you love music that much?" I don't love music that much. I just love everything else much less. So as long as you are nobody, a bedroom producer making music with some cracked software, you seem pitiful and miserable, even to your relatives. He left his stable job to pursue a non-existing career. He is a dreamer. No, he is worse than a dreamer. He is immature. Or, "This poor guy thinks so highly of himself. Can't he understand that he has no talent?" I try to tell him so many times, "Get a real job, poor fellow." But then, when someone books you for a gig, or when your track gets on the charts, or when you make your first million streams on Spotify, suddenly they all go, I knew he had talent. I knew that he will make it one day. I knew that he was a genius. Anyway, when you come to a certain age and you finally make it, people change instantly. And that's why you've got to listen only to yourself. And you can figure out who your true friends are, because the ones who support you are your true friends, and the ones who don't support you also don't believe in you. And a part of them does not want you to succeed. My closest friend was keep telling me, years after I fully committed to music, and while I was struggling to survive in the music industry, Angelo, aren't you going to find a real job? But all monumental things in this world are done by people who are ready to take risks and make sacrifices for their passion. Listen carefully to what people around you say, because when people are telling you no, they are expressing their own fears, and some of them might be good-hearted, but they will hold you down. Don't let anyone undermine your morale. This pathway that you might choose to follow has some tremendous ups and downs, some dark times and some bright times. The COVID quarantine period was a very dark time for all artists that were depending on live performances. They just couldn't do anything aside from some ridiculous live shows on camera. The music business is absolutely bereft of security. The other side of the coin is that as much as security is an illusion, rejection is also an illusion, because you can take as many chances as you want. When you are an Olympic athlete, you have very few and counted attempts to succeed. But in music industry, your attempts can be countless. You can try and fail a million times. Nobody will notice. And even if they do, you can change artist name and try again. In 2021, you get as many shots as you want. So forget about what the people say and get back on doing whatever it is you are doing.